Part 53. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 522. Chapter 522, Another Good Thing. 3 more, please customize. Due to the arrival of heavy ice and snow, more and more snowflakes fell from the sky, and the entire land was suddenly covered with a layer of snow white. As far as the eye can see, everything is completely white. Only snowflakes can be seen everywhere, and no other colors can be seen. Even the entire virgin forest is the same. The branches are all covered by the white snow, and the color of the branches cannot be seen at all. And these white snow sparkles under the sunlight, which looks particularly beautiful. At this moment, the primitive continent seemed to be covered with a white coat, looking particularly mysterious and dangerous. After Subai got up and stretched his body, he mentally summoned the system to sign in and receive the aid package. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully signing in. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving primary assistance, armor crafting book. Subai suddenly became energetic after hearing the name, and the feeling of winter sleepiness that was still there was gone. He looked at the book that appeared out of thin air on his left hand and sighed, "This is really a good thing." I immediately opened the book and started browsing it seriously. The smile on my face was a bit uncontrollable. Reading this book at this time is undoubtedly a timely help. Subai was so happy that he murmured to himself. Because he was thinking about what the tribe's warriors should wear to protect their bodies a few days ago. Although they are all totem warriors with the power of totem, and everyone is powerful. But after all, they are also totem warriors. Flesh and blood bodies are still easily injured, and they also rely heavily on witch dominoes at this time. So what should you do if you are injured without witch dominoes? So at this time, armor becomes the best protection. Although armor can't resist anything, it was too big of an impact, but it should be more than enough to withstand the claws of some wild beasts. Most of the injuries to many warriors were caused by attacks from wild beasts. If they had armor at this time, they could avoid being injured. It's not that I feel sorry for the witch dominoes. I'm just saying that if those warriors don't have this thing at the moment, wouldn't their lives be in danger? And it's not easy for the tribe to train a totem warrior, so it's better to make them less injured. The production methods written in this book are not difficult to operate and are very feasible, Subai thought with satisfaction. He thought this book was quite good. It said that the method of making armor was not too difficult. The most important thing was not to waste too much material. It just so happened that there was no iron ore in the tribe. Of course, it is better to reduce costs. The book writes about more than 1 or 2 ways to make armor. Since there is no iron ore, the iron armor can be eliminated and replaced by the iron armor. It's wooden armor. In addition to wooden armor, there is another way to make armor, that is, animal skin armor, but this kind of armor is more difficult to withstand heavy damage, so it was eliminated directly. The last remaining, the next part, is the wooden armor. Wood materials are available everywhere, so there is no need to worry about the materials. Since there is no iron ore now, it would be good to replace it with wooden armor. After all, it is better than nothing. Let Gumu start researching and making one later to see what the effect is, Subai murmured to himself. He has already begun to want this armor to be released, so that it can come in handy when the big ice and snow is over. It's just that the iron ore matter has not been settled yet, and explosive packs alone cannot do it. Subai frowned and thought. What suddenly came to his mind was what happened after the big ice and snow ended, that is, Yongye. After all, with the arrival of Yongye, those wild beasts and ferocious beasts began to go crazy, which was also a troublesome thing. Problem. Although gunpowder has been produced, gunpowder cannot blow up all ferocious beasts, and muskets are also crucial in this regard. But the most important raw material for muskets is iron. Unfortunately, no iron ore has been found yet. No, there is no way to make muskets from the iron mines, and then the tribesmen cannot get familiar with the muskets as quickly as possible, and it is even less likely to be effective on the eternal night. If there are muskets, there will be nothing to fear in the eternal night. Just shoot randomly at those ferocious beasts on the wooden wall. It seems that people need to find iron ore quickly. After all, making muskets is also a difficult task. Sudbai frowned and thought. There are many things needed to make a musket, and it is not a simple matter. But with the heavy ice and snow coming, it is not easy to find iron ore. It seems that we have to think of other ways, Sudbai said to himself. He calculated that the end of the big ice and snow would be a month or two. If he could not find iron ore during this time, he would have to find some other alternatives. Laying traps is not very reliable. Once those ferocious beasts go crazy, the traps will have no effect on them at all, Sudbai thought to himself, and then shook his head. He had already begun to think of various ways in his heart, and then he vetoed his own thoughts in various ways. Forget it for now. The most important thing now is to set up a row of sentry posts on the wooden wall, Sudbai murmured to himself. What he chose was to build outposts on the rows of wooden walls, so that the tribesmen could keep an eye on the situation in the distance. If something happened, if it happens, you can blow the horn as soon as possible to prepare the tribesmen. Let's get up and have breakfast before we talk. Thinking about anything with an empty stomach is useless, Sudbai thought to himself, and got up and changed his clothes. Crunch. He opened the door and saw the fox-eared lady standing at the door looking at him blankly, with a very strange expression on her face. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Sudbai asked curiously. I heard Wu talking to himself in the room. I thought you had a nightmare, but I didn't dare to open the door and look. The expression on Yu Ying's face was very aggrieved. The fox-eared lady was very worried at first, but she thought that she would never dare to open the door without the wizard's permission. So she hurriedly circled back and forth at the door, and then opened the door again. I put my ear against the door and listened, and the expressions on my face can be said to be colorful. Ha 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 ha, Sudbai smiled heartily, rubbed the other person's head and said, next time if you are worried, you can just open the door. Don't worry about me being angry. He felt a little distressed when he saw the other person's grievance and worry, so he gave it to him. This privilege. At the same time, I was thinking not to speak too loudly next time, otherwise others would think something was wrong if they heard it. Yes, Yu Ying breathed a sigh of relief after hearing this. Third update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 523. Chapter 523, Freezing. One more requests for customization. Heavy snow is falling on the ground, and the sky and the earth are connected together. It is so white that it is impossible to tell which is the sky and which is the earth. Pieces of crystal white snowflakes drifted down from the cloud-covered sky, slowly falling to the ground and merging with those snowflakes. It has only snowed for a few days, and a lot of snow has already accumulated in the Yanlong tribe. From a glance, there are not many people in the tribe walking out. Sudbai was warming up in front of the charcoal brazier on the second floor, and his delicate face was beautifully illuminated by the orange-red firelight. He held a cup of hot tea, took a sip and asked, how are the people in the tribe doing lately? How are their reactions? It had been several days since the big ice and snow arrived, so he wanted to ask everyone how they had reacted. After all, this is the first big ice and snow since he first managed the tribe. He still needs to see how the situation is. If there are any problems, he can make improvements in time to avoid the same problem in the next big ice and snow. Their response was pretty good. The food distributed every time was enough to eat, and they didn't say anything about being cold, Shalanhui reported. The cat-eared girl didn't rest because of the heavy ice and snow. She was also busy in the tribe every day, just to know how the people in the tribe were doing. That's good. The most important thing is to share enough food so that everyone doesn't get hungry, and just keep warm, Subai said with satisfaction. But he is definitely not worried about food, because he prepared a lot before the big ice and snow arrived. What he is more worried about is the issue of keeping warm. After all, he often heard them say that the big ice and snow is very cold and not enough warmth and the like. Therefore, the most important thing for the first big ice and snow after he took over the tribe was to keep everyone warm. It is precisely because of this that before the big ice and snow arrived, people were already hurry up hunting and collecting animal skins. After all, the tanning of animal skins also takes time. I will ask people to ask again in a few days. The heavy snow and ice has just begun, and many things cannot be seen yet. Shalan said seriously. Well, let's arrange for people to start clearing the snow in the next 2 days. The snow in the tribe has begun to pile up, Subai arranged. He didn't want to see the tribe empty when there was heavy ice and snow. Instead, he wanted the tribe to have people at all times, hiding at home and having nothing to do. But among the people in the tribe, so I don't want to come out. Apart from not having enough food and clothing, the biggest problem is the snow outside. The snow is so thick that I can't walk at all. Of course, in addition to these, there is also the lack of warmth. Shoes, it will be cold to death if you walk outside with bare feet. Yes, when those tools are ready today, we can arrange for people to clear the snow. Shalan said immediately. Before the heavy ice and snow arrived, he asked the carpenter to start making tools for clearing the snow. For example, he tied many large branches together to form a large and stiff broom, which could clean the ground. It is very easy to accumulate snow. In addition, there is another thing similar to a hoe, but this thing is made of wood, and the area is wider and longer, so that it can scrape the snow on the roof. Those who plowed the snow gave them extra food and more animal skins, Subai warned. After all, they are working outside, and they are clearing the snow, so they still need to take care of this aspect and distinguish it from those who are not involved in the work. I understand that the candidates have been arranged, and they are all people from the Black Snake tribe. Now they are very diligent and willing to do all kinds of things, and even take the initiative to go, Shalan said with a smile. The cat-eared lady was also surprised at the time. She didn't expect that the first person to sign up would be the people from the Black Snake tribe, and they would be the ones who followed. Oh, are they so diligent now? Weren't you still slacking off before? Subai was a little surprised. People in the Black Snake tribe didn't like to work very much before. After all, they lived by robbing other tribes of food. Now they suddenly have to work in exchange for food, and of course they are not willing to do so. So at the beginning they didn't want to work, or they were lazy every day and didn't want to do anything, but then there would be no food. As time went by, they began to work seriously, but not as diligently as now. That's all. Yes, maybe because people in our tribe get a lot of food every day, and they can get it as soon as they work hard, so they gradually learn to behave. Shalan covered her mouth and smiled. They are now considered members of our tribe. Let's arrange better accommodation for them after the heavy snow and ice passes, Subai said lightly. He didn't exclude those people very much. As long as they are willing to work for him, they are all good people and they can all get food. Understand, we can continue building houses after the big snow and ice passes, so that we can have more stone houses. Shalan said with a smile. The cat-eared girl really likes stone houses. Both the environment and appearance are many times better than wooden houses and tents. Well, has the tribe arranged for more soldiers to patrol recently? Are all the snow boots distributed to them in place? Subai continued to ask. Because the soldiers have to patrol the snow, they must distribute snow boots, otherwise their feet will easily get frostbite. All these arrangements have been made. I have discussed them with the chief, and he has asked my mother to arrange them. Shalan said seriously. Okay, don't relax on the recent intensification of patrols. No one knows what dangers there may be in the heavy ice and snow. Subai gave serious instructions. Yes, soldiers will be replaced several times every day, so there is no need to worry about patrol density, Shalan said responsibly. Since the cat-eared girl became a witch, her sense of responsibility has become much stronger. She is very serious and careful in everything she does. Especially things arranged by witches, she simply regards them as the most important thing. To deal with the most important things, if you don't do anything else, you must first arrange the witch's instructions, even if it is a small matter. When the weather is cold, it is also good to let them take turns for a short period of time, so that they can also take a good rest. Subai nodded and said, "Yes, this way you can avoid getting sick and those witch dominoes won't go to waste." Shalan said gently. "By the way, is it frozen over on the other side of the river?" "It has been several days since the heavy snow and ice arrived," Subai asked. "It has frozen and the hardness has not been tested yet." Shalan said immediately. "Come back in 2 days and take you to have fun." Subai smiled mysteriously. Please update for support and customization. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 524. Chapter 524, Innocent Sister. 2 more please customize. Wen slowly opened her brown eyes, looked up at the top of the wooden house and kept blinking. She stretched her body, sat up slowly, and muttered to herself, "It's so comfortable." The little girl hadn't experienced this kind of life for a long time. In the past, she didn't have enough to eat or wear in the snow. It's so incredible to be able to sleep in a wooden house, covered with thick animal skin quilts, and have 3 meals a day. You went to bed late again today. Come on, we can have breakfast. Min said softly. My sister got up early in the morning and prepared breakfast. She has been waiting for her sister to get up. She has been sleeping very comfortably recently and feels extra warm. This feeling is very good. It was so comfortable that I didn't even want to get up when buried her face in the quilt again. It was particularly comfortable to stay on the bed. This feeling made her not want to lift the quilt. No matter how comfortable you are, you still have to get up and eat. If you don't eat, I will finish it all. Min said deliberately. The barbecue on the fire pit in the middle of the wooden house was roasting, and bursts of aroma instantly filled the entire wooden house. Because it was snowy, the doors and windows of the wooden house were not opened but closed tightly, so these fragrances he continued to stay in the wooden house. Wen took a deep breath, felt the wonderful fragrance, stood up straight immediately, and said, I eat, I eat. The little girl felt that it was really great to be able to stay with her family during the heavy snow and ice without having to suffer from hunger and cold. She had not given up hope at first. After all, she was living in exile in the forest. Who knows whether he will live or die in the next second? But who would have thought that he would be living this kind of life now? This was unexpected, so life is really unpredictable. Min put the roasted meat on he put it in the wooden plate, handed it over and said, eat it, don't wait until it gets cold and it won't be good. In the snowy weather, even freshly roasted meat can easily get cold, so be sure to eat it while it's hot. Wen took the plate of barbecue and started to feast on it, her brown eyes showing full satisfaction. She swallowed. I ordered a piece of barbecue and asked, Sister, why do you still have to work in winter? Can you stay in the cabin? What the little girl doesn't understand is that her elder sister has to go to work as usual every day, instead of staying in their own cabins when the big snow comes, like they did in the tribe before. If I stay in the cabin, we won't have meat to eat, so I still have to go to work. Min smiled. Although my sister also knows that this place is different from the previous one, she also understands that if she has come to someone else's tribe, she must follow the rules of other people's tribes, otherwise she will have no choice but to leave the tribe. However, the Yanlong tribes, the food is plentiful, the treatment is good, and the environment is also very good, so they don't want to leave at all, so they can only rely on the Yanlong tribe's rules of eating meat if they work hard. That's right. This is the rule of the tribe. Only by working hard can you get food when nodded thoughtfully. The little girl didn't object in her heart, she just wanted to help her sister. Don't worry, there won't be any wind coming in where I work, and I won't get cold. Min shook her head and said. The place where my sister works is a cement house. It's just the first floor. Then you can set it up as a linen workshop. Many girls in the tribe go to work there. For daily work, you only need to stay in, just weave linen in the stone house, and someone will distribute the meat at mealtime, so you don't have to leave there at all, and you don't have to worry about being blown by the wind. And if there is a strong wind and snow, there are soldiers who will send workers to each other. Everyone goes home, and safety issues are also guaranteed. I really want to help my sister, so that you don't have to work so hard and we can take turns working when inner thoughts are still very strong. Because every time she sees her sister going out to work in the wind and snow in the morning, she feels very reluctant. In addition to worrying about her sister's safety, she is also worried that she is working too hard. I told you before, as long as you learn to read well, when you become literate, you will get more food than me, so if you don't want me to work hard, I have to work harder. Min said patiently. Although she heard her sister keep mentioning this kind of thing, after all, she is her sister and her only relative, so she can only be patient, not to mention that she is not an impatient person. Okay, but when can my sister take a break? It's snowing outside all the time, so there's no need to go there every day, right? Wen Tianzhen asked. I have 4 days off every month, but I want to work a little longer so I can get more food. Min said softly. The rest time of the linen workshop starts from 9 o'clock in the morning and ends at 10 o'clock in the evening. Then there are a total of 4 days of rest per month. Of course, it will be 4 days of rest. They distribute meat. However, if you don't take a break on a holiday, the meat you get will be doubled, so my sister usually doesn't take a break and often works overtime. I think my sister should take a rest. What if she gets sick from being too tired? Wen is just worried about all kinds of things. People who don't know better think that the younger sister is the older sister. Every time she speaks, she looks like an elder is concerned. It doesn't matter, working in the linen workshop is not tiring, it's just hands-on work, and you don't have to be blown away by the wind and get sick. Min also took a bite of the barbecue. They couldn't get salt, so they could only get some homemade seasonings. Those seasonings were made from wild vegetables or wild fruits picked from the forest. Those wild vegetables, they have a more sour or salty taste than wild fruits. They all grind these into juice or make dipping sauces as seasonings. After all, their status in the tribe is not very high. They are the basic members. There's no salt, and there's no way to share the condiments grown in the wooden shed. But the rest time in dabbing xiu should be very long, and you can also get a lot of meat, right? Wen still looked innocent. Ha ha ha, Min smiled softly and said, silly sister, work is so easy, and the heavy ice and snow will not affect our work, why will the rest time be extended? Don't worry, my sister still thinks that my sister is naive, but it's good to stay so innocent. All right, Wen said, discouraged. It seems that there is no way to let her sister rest more. Second update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 525. Chapter 525, Life has changed. 3 more, please customize. Due to the arrival of heavy ice and snow, the temperature is getting lower and lower, and more snowflakes are falling from the sky. There are always people in the Yanlong tribe clearing the snow on the streets and on the roofs. Therefore, The current Yanlong tribe is not filled with snow, but the roads have been opened. It is precisely because of this that the number of people in the tribe began to increase one after another. They no longer hid in the wooden house and began to come out to feel the heavy ice and snow. After all, this year's heavy snow and ice was extraordinary to them, completely different from the previous heavy snow and ice. They also wore more animal skin clothing than before, so they were warmer. There is also more meat given out every day, unlike before when you could only get one meal a day, and sometimes even one meal every 2 days. It is really a luxury to be able to eat enough like now. In addition, the snow in the tribe has been cleared away, making it more transparent. The shoes on their feet are also different. In the previous heavy snow and ice, they were barefoot without shoes. Now we not only wear straw sandals, but also wrapped with a layer of animal skin to isolate the cold air outside and prevent frostbite on our feet. This method was told by the cat-eared girl to the people of the tribe, in order to let them come out of the tribe well, and the animal skins were also distributed as extra. In just a few hours, the Yanlong tribe has already begun to be busy with traffic, and the carriages have begun to operate. People from the tribe will occasionally ride in the carriages. This scene seemed as if the heavy ice and snow had no impact on the Yanlong tribe at all. Everyone was still going about their daily lives and work. Subai looked at the scene outside with satisfaction and said, "Well, this is what I want to see now." What he has always wanted to see is the scene, instead of the scene that just started snowing like before. People. In this way, the tribe will be lifeless. It must be crowded with people to resemble a tribe. And he also began to build many workshops so that those people could work when heavy ice and snow came. These workshops include linen workshops, porcelain workshops, paper making workshops, wine making workshops, laundry soap workshops, shampoo soap workshops, etc. In short, the Yanlong tribe now has a lot of workshops. These workshops were all made by Subai before, and then he passed on the technology and recruited some people to build the workshops. In this way, those people will produce these things in large quantities, and these produced things, in addition to being supplied to the people of the tribe, can also be taken to other tribes in exchange for some food or useful things. After building this workshop, it also solved the work problem of many people. After all, there are still many girls in the Yanlong tribe. They are definitely not as strong as boys and cannot do some heavy work, such as the more delicate work in the workshop. Just leave it to them. These girls working in the workshop are all from the original Yanlong tribe. After all, these things are relatively strict and cannot be known to people from other tribes. Therefore, when these workshops recruit personnel, their first priority is the aborigines of the Yanlong tribe. In addition, there are many other jobs that boys can do, which means carpenters, masons, or those who are needed in shipbuilding will also be recruited. Carpenters and masons require the most people, because the Yanlong tribe is now in the development stage and needs a lot of things. There is no way for Gumu and Shan Shan to make it alone. At this time, a large number of apprentices need to be recruited. Or it could be that they don't recruit apprentices and let some unemployed boys work under them first, and wait until the big snow and ice passes before doing other jobs. This is equivalent to working part-time. In addition, there is the snow clearing work on the streets, which also requires a lot of people. After all, the Yanlong tribe is no longer the small tribe it used to be, and the area is relatively large. And it snows continuously every day, so the snow accumulation will become more and more. It needs to be cleaned almost once or twice every day. Just relying on a dozen people is not enough. Therefore, it is necessary to recruit dozens of people to reserve, so that they can take turns clearing the snow, and other people can also take the opportunity to take a rest. Of course, in addition to these, there are also some strong but not warriors who will follow the totem warriors or reserve warriors into the forest. Because now is the period of heavy ice and snow, there is almost no food or shelter outside. Therefore, If many wild beasts have no time to escape, they will be frozen to death by the heavy ice and snow, so that they can go outside to pick up some corpses and come back. This can be regarded as a way to supplement food. And this kind of food will not be stale, because it snows every day, and the snow outside is so thick. Even if these animals are frozen to death, they are always being chilled, and naturally the meat will not taste bad. Or a case of erosion. And this food can be brought into the tribe. Of course, this food will not be distributed by the top management, but the people below can take it out and distribute it independently. In addition to these, there are some other jobs, that is, weaving wooden baskets, dustpans, or other wood products. They can also do these manual tasks. Although they are not carpenters, they can always figure out 1 or 2 in a day, which is better than sitting around at home with nothing to do. Of course, the work of the Yanlong tribe does not stop there. They also need to look for iron ore and other ores. After all, they also have to prepare for the next eternal night. Third update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 526. Chapter 526, Symbol of Status. One more please customize. But this is not enough, it needs to be better. Subai murmured to himself. He must be dissatisfied with the current situation. There are still many things that need to be done before it can become a city. But the current tribe is at best better than the previous tribe, and it needs to be fully integrated. No one has become very good. Wu, are we going to the other side of the river today? Yu Ying asked curiously. They probably talked about this aspect when they were having breakfast early this morning. They said they were going to the river to take a look at the situation. If the river freezes, there will be interesting things, so the fox-eared girl was very looking forward to it after finishing breakfast, and she couldn't help but ask just now. Well, you all, get ready, we're going to the other side of the river now, Subai said softly. Good. Yu Ying nodded immediately and said, the smile on her face began to be a little uncontrollable. By the way, I asked Uncle Gomu and the others to bring the things they made 2 days ago. They can be used today, Subai added. I remember, Yu Ying immediately responded. Subai smiled and shook his head. He didn't expect that the fox-eared lady was so impatient. The others were the same. Everyone was extremely curious and ran to get their own clothes. He also put on warmer clothes and put on his animal skin cloak. The animal skin cloak was a pure black cloak. These cloaks were obtained by the hunting team when they were hunting in the hunting ground. They captured a huge black bear, so he peeled off the bear skin completely. After being tempered by the people in the tribe, it turned into a huge floor-sweeping cloak. The appearance alone looks very warm. Wu, we are all ready. Yanhua was the first to change her clothes, and she was also wearing a cloak. The cloak she was wearing was given to her by her father. It was a brown fox cloak, and there were several of the biggest foxes. Made of leather, the coat looks very smooth and very warm. Wu, what do we need to bring with us? Shalan asked curiously, wearing a light gray cloak. This cloak was given to her by Shahong. She also got it while hunting. It was picked off from several lone wolves. She lives in Yong'an building. All the beast-eared girls wear cloaks, even Yu Ying is no exception. Of course, the cat-eared girls and horn-eared girls have their families helping to make their cloaks. The fox-eared girl's cloak was given by Subai, a pink one. Cloaks are also made from the skins of wild beasts. It can be said that in the Yanlong tribe, cloaks have become a symbol of status. If you are not of high status, you cannot wear a cloak. Because the production of cloaks requires a lot of animal skins. Like ordinary people in the tribe, the animal skins they wear are allocated by the tribe. Therefore, they do not have extra animal skins to use to make cloaks. It is not enough to just use those to make clothes to keep warm. The excess is used to make cloaks. So if some people wear hoods, then their family must be fairly good, or they may be some people with higher status in the tribe. Only these people are qualified to wear them. Woo, I won't follow you, I will continue to study. Keek didn't change any clothes. What she was most afraid of was that the girl was still addicted to research and couldn't help herself. She didn't participate in many activities. Sometimes she didn't even want to eat when it was time to eat. Instead, she waited until others reminded her to remember to eat. Okay, then remember to take a rest and don't be too tired, otherwise I won't let you continue your research, Subai said seriously. Although it is a good thing for a girl to be diligent, there is no reason to ruin her body, no matter what the future research will do. The intelligence of the blonde girl is rare, so the future development of the tribe will be. We really need her, so of course we need her to take better care of herself. No, Woo, I will take a good rest. I will take a nap after I finish my research, Coco said without hesitation. She really likes research. Of course she doesn't like her research to be interrupted, so she can only be obedient. Well, let's go first, remember to rest, Subai said with a smile and walked out of the second floor first, followed by others. Tap tap tap. After everyone left Yong'an Tower, they kept walking towards the river. Apart from a few of them, many totem warriors and reserve warriors from the tribe also followed. After all, we were going to the other side of the river, and we still had to leave the tribe. Of course, we had to take care of the safety of the witches. This time, there were more than 20 people traveling with us. In fact, there wouldn't be so many people, and there wouldn't be any ferocious beasts or beasts at this time. Subai looked at so many people behind him and said helplessly. Although he knew that those people wanted to protect his own safety, he had danger warnings, so he didn't need so many people at all. There was no need to go to Dehi to take a look and follow him. With so many people on board, this is really a bit of a fuss, and it will also delay the progress of those people doing other things. Woo, your safety must come first. Shalan said without hesitation. She pulled the grey cloak on her body. She was a little unaccustomed to this thing, although it was true that it was very warm. This cloak was only obtained after Subai came to the tribe, because it was very difficult to make. Simple and very warm. Yes, nothing you say can make anything happen to you, Yanhua also said immediately. The saber on her body is ready. As long as something happens, she will rush to the front. This time, the totem warriors who came out with them include Yu, Yeju, Eruo, Hechuan, and others. They all also wore cloaks. Of course, the quality of their cloaks was not as good as Subai's. And the style didn't look that grand. On the contrary, it was simpler and shorter. This was for the sake of convenience. When danger occurs, it is easier to move. In addition to being totem warriors, some of them have outstanding performance in the tribe, so they can naturally get cloaks. It is just to distinguish them from witches. The quality of the animal skins on their cloaks will not be very good, but it will not be bad, just slightly inferior to that of witches. Don't worry, I have a better sense of danger than you, so don't be too nervous. Since this is for fun, just relax, Subai said softly. Seeing the extremely serious expressions on everyone's faces, he couldn't help but feel that it was a bit too rigid. Although he knew that what they did was right, it was just not good if the atmosphere was too tense. Please update for support and customization. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 527. Chapter 527, Sled Dogs. 2 more please customize. Tap tap tap. It took Subai and others more than an hour to reach the river, but the river was already frozen. Everywhere you look you can see a vast expanse of white, and the snow is still falling in the sky, making the feeling of whiteness even more intense. Moreover, there is still a trace of smoke lingering on the frozen river. Those snow-white weapons are air conditioners. Just standing by the river can feel the cold air emanating from the ice on the river. It has already frozen over in just a few days. It seems that the temperature is really low. Subai sighed. But he was also glad that they wore more clothes, not only gloves, but also hats and scarves. They also wore snow boots in the morning, and even wore a big cloak behind them. The whole person looked like they were covered in being airtight, can still keep out the cold. If he didn't have a thermometer, he would really like to see how low it is now. Woo, let's go take a look first. Yeju immediately walked to the front and said. She knew that Wu and others wanted to walk directly onto the ice.at this time. We still don't know if there is any danger on the ice. I can only go up there and check it myself, so as to ensure whether the ice surface is solid and whether there are any other dangers. Well, you should be careful too. Subai nodded and said. Tap tap tap. Yeju and others walked slowly onto the ice. Everyone walked very slowly because the ice was very slippery and they would fall down if they were not careful. The wolf-eared lady looked around seriously, holding a crocodile knife tightly in her hand, and took the spear handed over by others with her other hand. She thrust the spear in her hand into the ice with all her strength, but there were only a few traces on the ice, and only some ice shards escaped, with no cracks or penetration. The wolf-eared girl did not stop the spear in her hand because of this. She continued to hit the ice surface, making sure to ensure safety. When the spear couldn't penetrate the ice, or even broke off, he changed to another weapon. She took a very strong crocodile knife and began to tap the ice surface. It also did not cause much damage to the ice surface. Just some ice chips ran out, and in more serious cases, only a little bit of small ice cubes appeared. There are no other major penetrations. It can be said that the ice surface of the frozen river is very solid. Woo, the ice is very solid. You can stand up now. Yeju reported the report seriously. Lang Niang is quite careful in this regard. Anything that threatens the safety of witches cannot exist, so she was extra careful just now and tested it for a long time. Subai nodded and walked onto the ice carefully. Since there was a mat sewn under the snow boots, the anti-slip properties were still very good. After he stepped onto the ice, he glanced around and found that the field of vision was very empty. But the visibility is relatively low. Because it has been snowing and there are bursts of cold air on the ice, it is completely white for a while, and nothing else can be seen. It is precisely because of this that those totems the soldiers became even more nervous. They all gathered around Subai and stood around the witch in a surrounding position. Yanhua was not so cautious and walked onto the ice carelessly. The smile on his face, I couldn't help it. This was the first time that the horned girl came to the river. In the past, when there was heavy ice and snow, everyone stayed at home, so the horned girl was no exception. In previous years, when the river froze, there were only a few people can go up, and they are also the totem warriors of the tribe, and they go up out of curiosity. Others can't go up, and they can't even get out of the tribe. They all stay in their own wooden houses. It turns out that this is what the river looks like. Is this the ice on the river? It's the first time I've seen it. Yanhua sighed. She squatted down and touched the ice, wanting to feel what it would be like after the usually vast and boundless sea freezes. It looks dangerous. Yu Ying was a little scared, and kept holding the cat-eared girl next to her tightly with both hands. Her pink eyes kept blinking, for fear that she would suddenly fall into the river. Don't worry, it has been tested and the place we are standing is safe. Shalan comforted her. She just went up with the wolf-ear girl for the test, and naturally she became a solid figure in this big river. Although Yu Ying nodded, the expression on her face still showed that she was very scared. Woo, after we get here, what should we do next? Yanhua asked curiously. Because Niojiao Niang knew that she was here to relax this time, she was naturally more curious. She had always had this curious mentality before leaving the tribe. Bring all the things you have made up, and then we can move forward steadily on the ice, Subai said with a smile. The things he was talking about were ice sledges. He gave Gumu and the others the drawings and asked them to make them first. On the other side of the earth, ice sledges are generally used to transport things or for entertainment. Of course, the drawing Subai gave was for a relatively short ice sledge. Its main function is also used for transportation. The volume of the production is also relatively large. It is no longer the small one on the earth, but the kind of ice that falls on the ground. Sledge. Use 2 pieces of wood of the same length and put them at the bottom of the ice sledge as feet. Then put 2 pieces of polished bones on the feet. These bones are very long and sharp. And these bones are the bones of the stone-armored crocodile. It is very strong and wear-resistant. It is polished thin and spread out under the wood, so that the friction with the ice surface is relatively small, and it is not so strenuous to run. The most important thing is speed. It's relatively fast. Woo, what on earth is this? Why does it look so much like a chair? Yanhua asked curiously. Ice sledge is something that allows us to move forward on the ice without walking, Subai explained simply. Ice sledge, Yanhua was confused after hearing this. It's such a strange name. Woo, does this ice sledge need to be pulled by those dogs? Shalan asked curiously. Yes, the Yanlong tribe has dogs. Although there were dogs before, most of them would be eaten, but this time the dogs are different. This time the dogs of the Yanlong tribe are all from the earth. The sled dogs here are very similar to those in Alaska, except that the sled dogs here are more honest. They are also slightly larger and have longer hair. They are all gray and white. Second update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 528. Chapter 528, Suddenly Falling Apart. 3 more, please customize. These dogs just ran into the Yanlong tribe a few days ago. 6 big dogs ran in groups in the middle of the night. Then he hid behind the Yong'an building and slept like this until the next morning before he was discovered. The noise was quite loud at that time, so I wanted to catch them all and eat them. You must know how difficult it is for the tribe to see alive beasts during heavy ice and snow. They eat dried meat every day, and now there is fresh meat. Of course they want to catch it. However, the huge noise also disturbed Subai. He stepped downstairs from Yong'an to take a look at the situation. I found those dogs as soon as I got downstairs. When I first saw them, I thought I was seeing Alaska on Earth. But after careful inspection, there was still a difference. Suddenly, he had an idea and wanted to keep all these dogs. At that time, I wanted to stay just so that it could be used today. After all, Alaska existed as a sled dog before it was on the other side of the earth. It's best to use them to pull ice sledges, and there are only 6 of them, so they will definitely run very fast. Well, bring them all over and tie them to the front of the ice sledge, Subai ordered. When he wanted to keep all these dogs, the people from the cat-eared lady also asked why. At that time, they only heard Subai saying that these dogs could be put to great use, so they said they could not be eaten. I didn't say what they were used for specifically. But when they left the tribe today, they heard Subai ordering people to take all these dogs with them and they thought of it. So when they just heard about those ice-raking pairs, they thought the first thing that comes to mind is relying on these dogs to pull. Yes, Yu Ying turned around and asked someone to lead the big dogs. Woohoo, can these dogs really pull these ice sledges? Shalan looked at the dogs in confusion. You'll find out later, Subai didn't explain too much. All this needs to be practiced before he can know it. But what he didn't know was how strong these dogs were. Is it 2 or 3 that can pull an ice sledge, so these have to be tested? Woo, they are all tied up. Yu Ying came back immediately. There were 3 ice sledges placed on the ice, and 2 dogs were tied to the front of each ice sledge. Those dogs had been trained in advance, so they now looked like they are all very well behaved, sticking out their tongues and wagging their tails all the time, looking particularly naughty. Let's go, sit on it and try it and you will know. Subai walked towards the nearest ice sledge first. Woo, let's try it first. Yeju is more worried about danger. The wolf-eared lady has been looking at those ice sledges very carefully, always feeling that those things are not very safe. Not to mention using these dogs to pull them, just looking at them is very dangerous. But I never thought that these were for people to sit on. It wasn't until I heard it that I immediately came over. Subai's thick black eyebrows were raised slightly, but he didn't expect that the other party was so fast. He nodded and said, then you go up and try it out, and see how the speed goes. He knew that if he didn't let the wolf-eared girl give it a try, the other party would definitely be worried, so he still let her give it a try. The wolf-eared girl walked onto the ice sledge with 2 preparations of warriors. After sitting down, she pulled the rope. Start controlling those dogs. Woof woof woof. The dogs began to bark, and their fleshy paws started to run along with them. Crunch, crunch. The ice sledge also started running in response. It moved slowly at the beginning. As the dog ran faster and faster, the ice sledge moved faster and faster. In the blink of an eye, the ice sledge ran very far away. Although it was moving very fast, the ice sledge was always stable without any mistakes. As the ice sledge ran further and further away, everyone watching on the spot was shocked. It was the first time they had seen this. It turns out this is an ice sledge. It turns out it can run so fast on the ice. Yu Ying still hasn't calmed down at all. The fox-eared lady only remembers that she blinked her eyes a few times, and the ice sledge that was in place disappeared. This is really interesting stuff, and the dogs used it just right. Shalan sighed. The cat-eared girl never expected to be able to move forward so steadily on the ice, and it was still pulled by a few wild animals. This is similar to the carriage in the tribe. The only difference is that this time the ice sledge does not have wheels like a carriage, but is supported by 2 long bone fragments, which is really weird. It's awesome, I'll definitely try it later. The first thought that pops up in Yanhua's mind is to try it herself. Nyojiao Niang is quite passionate and likes to try new things. Now that she has seen such an interesting thing, how can she be justified not to try it? Woo, this ice sledge is really interesting. How far can it run? Shalan asked curiously. As far as those dogs can go, this ice sledge can go just as far, as long as the ice surface is firm enough, Subai explained. The design of the ice sledge is relatively simple and uses a very labor-saving method, so the dogs are not tired when pulling it. This also saves them a lot of energy, so they can run longer. Got it? Woo, will this ice sledge suddenly fall apart halfway through? I'm worried about you, Yu Ying's soft voice sounded. Fox-ear girl is still more worried about safety issues. After all, this thing is running on the ice, and the speed is so fast. If there is danger, it will be difficult to deal with it. Don't worry, I checked specifically and found that there is nothing wrong with these ice sledges, as long as they are operated properly, Subai said gently. The ice sledges stand firmly on the ice and have very strong gripping ability. As long as there are no problems with those, there will be no problems with this ice sledge. Even if those dogs suddenly, if you stop for a while or fall down, the ice sledge can also cushion the car for a long time and prevent it from overturning. That would be really great. It must be fun to be able to move quickly on the ice. After Yu Ying's worries were dispelled, she began to look forward to it. Anyway, that ice sledge is so big. Woo, how about we sit together? Yanhua asked directly. Nyojiao Niang mainly wanted to operate it herself, but also wanted to protect Wu, so she made this request. Yes, but you have to watch me operate it first, and then you can operate it after you have learned it, Subai said softly. Yes, Yanhua responded without hesitation. Third update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 529. Chapter 529, Be careful of breaking your face. 4 more please customize. Crunch, crunch. Woof woof woof. Yeju and others controlled the ice sledge and returned to Subai and others, with surprise written on their faces. I never thought this thing would be so interesting and run so fast. The most important thing is that it runs very steadily. It never feels bumpy or about to roll over. Instead, it has a very refreshing feeling. Woo, this thing called an ice sledge is very safe, you can sit on it, Yeju said seriously. The wolf-eared lady didn't stop when she sat on it. Instead, she kept observing the structure of the ice sledge to see if it was safe. She kept staring at the dogs to make sure they wouldn't go crazy and follow them. I won't run around. I'll come back after making sure everything is fine. Well, let's go, let's sit together. Subai nodded and walked up first. The area of the ice sledge is relatively large, unlike the smaller ones on the other side of the earth, because in addition to seating people, the ice sledge on this side also has to place a lot of things and release them. Some weapons, food, etc. So the entire ice sledge looks very big, each one can accommodate about 10 people. Subai, several girls from Yong'an building, Yu, Yeju, and others took one, and the others it was with 2 other people. Crunch, crunch. Woof woof woof. The ice sledge began to run under the control of Wolf-Ear Girl, and moved forward. The 2 dogs ran very hard, sticking out their tongues and moving forward quickly with their tails hanging down. Yanhua saw the 2 dogs running fast in front of her, and looked down at the scenery down the mountain moving back. She felt the cold wind blowing in front of her again, and she truly felt that she was really moving forward quickly on the ice. It's so exciting, I could play here all day. The corner of Yanhua's mouth raised a nice arc. Shalan held the handrail next to him with one hand, looked at the snow-covered scenery in the distance, and sighed. I never thought it would be like this. This is the first time she is moving quickly on the ice, and she is still sitting, without relying on any of her own strength. This feeling is different from riding a carriage in the tribe. At least the roads in the tribe are they can step on it every day, and they seem to feel more secure. But it is different now. Although there is ice on the river, dangers are still everywhere, because problems may occur with the ice at any time. That's why they felt that this time was very different. Yuying was holding onto the cloak of the horned girl tightly. She was too scared. The fox-eared girl was also the same. It was the first time for her to ride an ice sledge. It was so fast. She was running on the ice at a fast speed, so her sense of security was almost zero. Seeing the other party like this, Subai reached over and grabbed her hand, comforting her. It'll be okay, I'm here. After Yuying heard this, her tightly closed pink eyes began to open. She raised her head and looked at Wu, nodded and said, yes, I will try to accept it. Don't force yourself and it'll be fine, just adapt slowly, Subai said gently. Yes, Yuying responded with a smile, and she became happy all of a sudden. The smile on her face was visible to the naked eye. After Yanhua saw the scene and looked at herself, she suddenly felt a little ashamed, thinking that if she stopped being so careless, she would be. Couldn't she also be comforted? The more she thought about it, the redder her face turned, and she shook her head excitedly after thinking about it. What's wrong with you? Is it uncomfortable? Subai didn't understand why Niojiao Niang suddenly acted like this. Wasn't she very brave next to him just now? Why did she look so shy all of a sudden? After Yanhua reacted, she shook her head repeatedly and said, it's nothing, nothing, I was just thinking about something. The horned lady immediately looked forward in embarrassment and discussed with the wolf-eared lady that she wanted to control the ice sledge. Crunch, crunch. The ice sledge ran very fast under the traction of the dog, and immediately left the entrance of the tribe. Subai tried his best to stretch his legs forward without making any noise, because the front part of the ice sledge was not very wide. In addition, he was surrounded by various girls, and the fox-eared girl clung to him even more tightly. On the other side, there was a horned lady and a cat-eared lady, both of whom were also very close to him. Therefore, the range of movement that I can move is very small. I just bent my knees for a long time, so I want to stretch forward. The sensitive fox-eared girl immediately noticed the difference, and even heard the subtle breathing sounds. Yuying immediately sat up straight and said, "Wu, you must be tired. Let me rub your legs." After speaking, the fox-eared lady tucked her cloak behind her and prepared to reach out to help massage. Subai pulled the other person down with his hand and warned, "It's okay, you have to sit more firmly and don't fall down." Yuying was stunned when she heard this, and sat there obediently without moving, with an expression on her face. Very scared. She had been thinking about what she would do if she fell. I was even more worried when I just heard that sentence. Yes, it is easy to hurt your face if you fall down at such a fast speed. Shalan also said seriously at the side. Yuying immediately covered her face subconsciously, worried about what if her face was scratched. The witch will definitely no longer want her as a witch, so she can't let herself be disfigured no matter what. That's it, her sitting posture became more upright. Ha 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 ha, Subai smiled heartily and comforted, "Don't be too nervous, just follow me closely." "Yes, I will." Wu Yuying took the other person's hand without hesitation. At this time, she couldn't care too much because she was afraid. Subai lowered his head and looked at the hands of the fox-eared girl holding her arms tightly. He looked up and looked ahead with a smile. Fourth update, please support and customize. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 530. Chapter 530, The Green-Haired Girl on the Ice. One more request for customization. Yeju drove the ice sledge forward, maintaining a very balanced speed. She glanced around and asked Wu, "Where are we going next? You can't even see the edge from the front." "Just keep moving forward, nothing will happen anyway," Subai said lightly. "Instead of going back to the tribe, it is better to walk on the ice for a while. Anyway, there is nothing much to do back in the tribe. Now I can explore the surrounding area of the Yanlong tribe. This was the purpose of coming out today." Yes, Yeju nodded and continued to control the ice sledge. Crunch, crunch. Woof woof woof. The two sled dogs kept running hard, and their forward speed did not slow down at all, but maintained the same speed as at the beginning. "Wu, are you hungry? Do we want something to eat?" Yuying asked suddenly. Subai blinked his black eyes, looked at the fox-eared lady and asked, "Am I okay? If you're hungry, let's stop and eat first." Purr purr. Yuying subconsciously touched her belly and said awkwardly, "Wu, I'm a little hungry." Fox-eared lady didn't eat much in the morning, just a small bowl of wheat porridge, although it was a steaming bowl in this weather. The wheat porridge is a very comforting thing. But she drank less, mainly because she suddenly had no appetite, but now she suddenly felt like eating. "Well, let's stop and eat something first, and give the sled dogs something to eat by the way," Subai ordered. Good. Yeju nodded immediately and prepared to control the sled dogs to stop. After seeing the signal, the two ice sledges behind also controlled the ice sledges to stop. "Fortunately, we brought a lot of food with us on this trip, otherwise we would have had to go back," Yuying said happily. It was Subai's idea to bring food this time. He originally wanted to explore on the ice for a while. But no one knew how long he would stay outside, so he asked someone to prepare some food first. "Ready." "Wu, wouldn't it be a bit wasteful to eat canned food now?" Shalan is more worried about supplies. It's okay, the tribe is not short of food now, just eat, Subai said lightly. Although canned food is the main delicacy of the tribe now, because it takes time to make, it will not be eaten until it is easy. Usually, the dried meat is eaten first. Yes, Shalan and the fox-eared girl helped sort out the cans. They took the cans out, took out the plates and poured out the meat in the cans. When the cans were just opened, bursts of fragrance came out instantly. That kind of the taste is always delicious no matter how many times you smell it. Be careful when eating, this is canned fish, be careful there are fish bones, Subai warned. He was not worried about anyone. The only one he was worried about was Nyojiao Niang. Because she ate too fast and was very generous, he was more worried about her getting stuck by a fish bone. Yanhua didn't seem to worry about anything. Same, he nodded absently, but his eyes were still looking at the fish on the plate, and his throat couldn't help but surge up. After everyone simply ate the canned food, they continued to set off, but as soon as they set off, the cat-eared girl noticed that something was wrong, too much the same thing. Shalan adjusted the telescope in his hand and looked into the distance, frowned and said, "Wu, there seems to be a person in front of you." Subai took the telescope and looked ahead. He indeed found a person and said, "Let's go up and have a look." "Wu, this is too dangerous, you can't get close." Yeju immediately stopped him. No one knew who that person was. "It's nothing, there are many of us, and the other party is alone," Subai said lightly. His danger warning did not sound, which means that person is not in danger, not to mention they have so many totem warriors, so there is no need to worry. "Yes," Yeju responded, controlling the sled dog and heading in the direction of that person. Crunch, crunch. Woof woof woof. 10 minutes later, the ice sledge stopped on the ice not far from the man. Subai saw the man at a glance. The man had short green hair and green eyes looking directly at them. The expression on her face was full of doubts, and then she became wary. Although she was not an outstanding beauty in appearance, she still had good facial features, giving her a girl next door feel. "Who are you?" She immediately became vigilant, and the spear she held in her hand was pointed directly at Subai and others. Yeju immediately stood in front, stretched out her hand to block it, and said coldly, "I advise you not to recklessly. The fighting knife in Wolf-Ear Girl's hand is ready. If the opponent dares to act rashly, she will rush over and cut the opponent's throat immediately." The other totem warriors also immediately became alert, and they all came forward from behind. The weapons in his hands were all ready. Subai raised his hand and pressed it, signaling everyone to calm down. It would be strange for a girl on the other side not to be frightened when facing so many people. Now all of a sudden, so many people are still holding weapons. Facing her was really a bit bullying, not to mention that the spear in the opponent's hand looked very dilapidated. "Who are you? Why here?" Subai was the first to ask. The green-haired girl was obviously a little frightened. She didn't know what to do for a moment. She saw that the opponent's numbers and weapons were better than her own. What's more, there are so many unnamed beasts on the other side, and I am no match for the other side. She held the spear tightly in her hand, regretting a little why she left everyone and came here alone. The girl with green hair swallowed her saliva, looked at those people and mustered up the courage to ask, "Who are you?" At this time, she could only try her best, and she couldn't let the other party see that she was scared. Even more ruined. "We don't have any malicious intentions, we just happened to pass by here and wanted to see if there were any tribes nearby, and then we saw you," Subai said gently. When he heard the other party's tone and look, he knew that the other party must be nervous and scared at this moment, so he tried his best to look friendly. After all, a person suddenly appeared on the endless ice. People, that means there should be tribes nearby, so he had to seize the opportunity to ask. Because he saw that the other party's dress did not look like a homeless person, and they were all wearing thick animal skins, so there must be no shortage of animal skins. People, I don't know why they are here. Are you looking for tribes around here? Why find a tribe? Don't you have a tribe? The green-haired girl became even more vigilant when she heard this. She held the spear in her hand tightly and took 2 steps back unconsciously. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 531. Chapter 531, A Born Liar. 2 more please customize. Just want to understand the environment near our tribe, Sudbai said lightly. He could feel the other party's deep defense, which could be seen from a few of the other party's movements. There is nothing in our tribe, so you don't have to look at it, the green-haired girl said immediately. She was still stepping back, holding the spear in her hand. She didn't dare to switch to another hand even if she got tired. We don't need food from your tribe, so don't worry, I don't come here with hostility, Sudbai said seriously. He had no choice at this time. The other party was wary of something. If he didn't express himself clearly, he would be misunderstood. The green-haired girl didn't speak anymore and stood quietly looking at those people. You're fishing here, right? You won't be able to catch fish if you do, the Sudbai raised his eyebrows slightly and said. You, how did you know I was here to fish? The girl with green hair said in shock. Obviously she didn't say anything, and she didn't catch a fish. How did the other party know? If you want to fish, you won't be able to catch fish like this, Sudbai smiled heartily. The green-haired girl immediately hid the spear behind her back and said with a slightly red face, don't talk nonsense, I'm not fishing. She didn't want people to know that she banged her spear on the ice for a long time, but nothing happened. There were only a few marks left on the ice, and ice chips from the impact were everywhere, and the fish under the ice are still swimming leisurely. Ha ha ha, Sudbai smiled faintly, turned around and ordered others to start digging a hole in the ice. Hechuan and others followed the instructions and began to dig on the ice. After a while, they used a sharp stone spear to dig a hole. This is how you can catch fish. Sudbai took the spear and thrust it hard at the fish swimming on the surface. Wow! There was a splashing sound, and he took back the spear in his hand, with a fish attached to the end of the spear. This is how you can catch fish. Sudbai handed the spear to the person next to him and continued, if you want to catch fish back, use my method. The green-haired girl was stunned. She didn't expect that all her efforts were in vain, and the other party caught a fish in just a few minutes. Her hands that were originally tightly clenched began to relax, and her expression softened. Asked, my name is Alu, I am from the Luteng tribe. I am from the Yanlong tribe, my name is Sudbai. Sudbai raised his eyebrows slightly. Judging from the girl's appearance, she must have relaxed her vigilance. She even said her name and tribe, so she was naturally not as reserved as she was at the beginning. Yanlong tribe? I've heard of this tribe. Alu blinked her green eyes and said, the expression on her face was very subtle. Oh? Where did you hear that? Sudbai was a little surprised, turned around and asked the cat-eared girl, don't you know about the Luteng tribe? He wanted to find out if anyone else knew about this tribe except him, or if there was any connection between this tribe and the Yanlong tribe. I've probably heard a little bit about it, but I don't understand it very clearly. I just heard the name. Shalan shook his head and said. Wasn't the Yanlong tribe occupied by the Black Snake tribe before? So you escaped from the tribe? Alu asked. Sudbai smiled slightly, shook his head and said, no, we have already taken back our own place. The Black Snake tribe is no longer here. Sure enough, there is a problem with the lack of information circulation. It has been several months since that incident, but those people still remember, this is all. So that's it, then what are you doing here this time? Isn't your tribe still there? Why come out to find the tribe? Do you want to change food? Alu asked. She thought about it and found out that this was the only reason. After all, the Luteng tribe still had some food, and there was nothing else. The reason why she came out to fish this time was because her father wanted to eat fish. But the tribe didn't have fish meat. If she hadn't seen how the other party caught fish, she probably wouldn't have been able to be completely friendly to these people. Who said that she hadn't caught a fish on the ice for so long? The other party just chiseled it a hole. I put something on the water surface and I caught a fish. I was unwilling to ask her to leave directly, but I saw a way and could only be more friendly. Change food? No, we have enough food and we don't need to exchange food with you. Subai shook his head and said. What is that for? Alu looked puzzled. Are you familiar with the nearby tribes? Subai asked seriously. The reason why he wanted to tell the girl how to fish was because he wanted her not to be too vigilant. In this way, it would be easier to talk about cooperation next time. Yes, I thought of a way. I'm quite familiar with the area. I wonder what you want, Alu asked doubtfully. The expression on her face became wary again. The other party didn't know why he mentioned this for no reason. She felt that apart from being good-looking and well-dressed, everything else about the other party was untrustworthy. Moreover, the other party asked about the surroundings out of nowhere, so she remembered her father's words. She should not just trust a good-looking person. Generally, such people are glib, and 9 out of 10 sentences are lies. He is a complete born liar. Seeing the series of changes in the other party's expression, Subai couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth twice, wondering what the other party was thinking. He sighed and sorted out. He said in a few words, I have no ill intentions, I just want to discuss cooperation with you. Talk about cooperation? Alu frowned and continued without hesitation. No, our tribe has enough food and there is no need to cooperate. The girl didn't even think about it at all. She always felt that the other person was having some bad thoughts. Don't you want to hear me out? Then there's no way. Subai waved his hand and turned around, pretending to leave. As he turned around, he made a gesture to the fox-eared lady, who immediately understood. Yu Ying deliberately walked over with an open can in her arms. Pretending to be embarrassed, he asked, is there a lot of food here? Throw it away. Alu's green eyes widened when she heard this, wondering if she had heard wrongly. She was so shocked that she couldn't close her mouth. She hesitated for a long time before she could say, are you a witch from the Yanlong tribe? At the same time, she also smelled the smell coming from the can. The smell was so fragrant. Second update, please support and customize.